and a lot of management. To help local communities understand their role and ways they can plan and execute broadband projects, CBO developed the Broadband Ready Community Checklist and Program. The checklist is a set of voluntary, tangible tasks that will help local communities and their partners successfully plan and execute their broadband projects. Communities that complete the tasks may then apply to be designated as a broadband ready certified community. So again, this is a community program, but we did want to let the industry be aware of it. To prepare this program, the checklist, we conducted extensive community engagement and studied several existing toolkits, checklists, and policies from all around the country and different broadband programs to develop these best practices. CBO met with local communities, counties, special districts, broadband internet service providers, utilities, civic organizations, and other state agencies. Please note that as part of this program, the checklist, that we are not requiring a designation or even completion of this checklist to participate or to receive Advanced Colorado Broadband Grant programs. And the participation and designation will not be included as part of the scoring criteria for grant programs. The checklist is actually, it's not on our website yet, but it should be there by the end of the day. So please keep an eye out for that. And we would welcome your feedback from our industry partners on how our local communities can be better prepared for projects. You can also reach out to me as well if you have any questions regarding this new program. Thank you very much. And now I think Megan is going to provide an update on mapping.
Yeah, thanks. Sorry, Kendall, my mute button was slow to unmute. All right, we'll hand it over to Megan Grunert to give mapping updates.
Yeah, thank you, Lauren. Good morning, everyone. I have a couple mapping updates to provide. The big news since we last met, which seems like so long ago, the FCC released their new national broadband map on November 18th. So this map is part of the FCC's new broadband data collection, or BDC, which collects more granular data from broadband providers. I wanted to talk a little bit about deadlines for challenges. So challenges are accepted on a rolling basis. Any deadlines you've heard about are really just cutoff dates for when challenges, or for challenges to be included in the map by a certain time, namely the allocation of BEAD funding. So you can still submit challenges, both location and availability challenges. The timeline for resolution of those challenges is a little bit different for availability versus location. Basically, availability challenges will be adjudicated and added to the map periodically. So once everything is resolved, the FCC will make an update to the map.
Talking about the FCC.
Could people mute themselves if they're not asking a question? And then location challenges will be resolved and incorporated into the next version of the fabric. So we just received a new version of the fabric on December 31st. We won't see any changes to that until June 30th. The other news on the FCC side is the next BDC filing window is now open. So for all of you providers on the call who need to submit data to the FCC, that window is open now. Deadline is March 1st. Likewise, we'll be starting our CBO data collection soon. We're still working on finalizing our timeline, but it'll be similar to last time, where we're following the guidelines of the FCC data collection standards and a similar timeline to them. So keep an eye on the newsletter for when that data collection starts. And lastly, we've been working with our vendor, Esri, for the last few months, developing new mapping applications. So we're excited to be launching those within the next month or so. So again, keep an eye on the newsletter so you can get a preview of what those will look like and explore them once we launch them. And if you have any questions for me, feel free to email. If all of that sounded like a jumble, you can contact me offline and we can walk through some of it. And happy to answer questions when we get into the Q&A in a few minutes.
Thanks, Megan. Yeah, we anticipate this being a topic that will bring some questions. So we're here to answer them. If you need them, that's part of the purpose of this. So, but real quick, before we get to that, I'm going to pass it to Paige to give us a legislative update. Paige, are you available? You ready?
Yeah, thank you, Lauren.
Sure.
Thanks. So the legislative session kicked off on January 9th and it's going through May 3rd. Our primary focus has been on SB 05-152. This is the local government restrictions. There's currently a restriction in place on local governments from providing broadband services both directly and indirectly. They can opt out via a referendum, so there's a voting requirement. And on December 13th, the Joint Technology Committee, who's our oversight committee, approved us to repeal SB 05-152. So since then, we've been doing stakeholder engagement, both industry and community, and we have been working with a subgroup, and we feel very encouraged by that progress, and we see that compromise is very likely. We just have a few remaining items and discussion there. Another bill that's on our radar is HB 23-1051. This is a rural telecommunications bill, and this would basically align the expiration date of the high cost support mechanism with the sunset review date of the broadband deployment board. So it's extending that high cost support mechanism date. So far, we feel very, supportive of this bill, but we are in the process of getting our official position approved. We have a legislative stakeholder call open to industry, community, the public tomorrow at 1 o'clock. And if you would like to be added to that, just shoot me an email and I'll get you set up. So thank you.
Thank you, Paige. Okay. At this time, we turn it over to you. This is your time to ask our team questions. It can be in follow-up to the updates that you just heard. It could be new topics, whatever it is you guys have on your minds. A couple of reminders. You are welcome to come off mute and ask your question. There is a little raise your hand button. I think that helps just, people not talk over each other. So if you wouldn't mind using that, or there's a chat option as well. You can chat your question. I can read them aloud to the group and whoever the appropriate team member is can answer. So at this time, we'll go ahead and open up for questions. Anybody have a question that you want to ask about FCC MAP, legislative updates, just broadband projects in general? Okay, I do see one hand. Jennifer Price, do you want to go ahead and ask your question?
Hi, yeah, thanks. When will we see a copy of the state's CPF plan that was approved by Treasury?
I can answer that question. Thanks, Jennifer, for your question. It's a good one. So we have not posted that on our website, but you can request it if you want to see it. Basically, the summary of the program, the application that we sent to Treasury it's basically identical to the communication that came out when we received our notice of award. But we're happy to send that to people that would like to see it. It's really only 2 documents. It's the executive summary that's on their website, the Treasury's website. That's the summary, so that we sent that over to them. And then it's this executive summary is obviously the summary of the application. The 2 biggest things are, the estimated number of folks that we are going to serve, which the state said there was about 18,000 that we could serve with those funds. And that's conservative. We could potentially serve more, but just really have to wait till the application process opens. And then the other piece to it is that we split the funds into two categories, tier 1 and tier 2, very similar to what the Department of Local Affairs does. The main difference is that tier 1 grants, there's a little bit more money allocated to those to that bucket of funding, and to make those funds available to the parts of the state that have the highest unserved and underserved. And then tier 2 is a lower amount of funding. It's a 25-75 split between the two tiers for available funding. And we're talking about the $162 million that's available for broadband infrastructure. Tier 2, it's a lower number. It's around $40 million to the parts of the state that have a lesser percentage of unserved and underserved. We wanted to make sure that we included everybody. So we could certainly spend most of that money in one part of the state. As many of you guys are aware of, it's just really expensive, but we wanted to make sure that everybody had an opportunity to apply the program across the state, because there's unserved and underserved in every corner of our state. And so that's pretty much the plan. But if you want to, you can request a copy of it if you'd like.
And Brandy, what's the best way for people to send in a request? Is it to the email that we have up here on the screen? Okay.
They can send an email to it, and then we'll route it through our proper channels.
All right, Jennifer, hopefully that answers your question. There's a question in the chat. It says, we see the letters of intent were requested for Colorado Advance back in July. Is an LOI required to participate in the upcoming grant program? And Kendall actually answered, but I don't know, Kendall, if you want to elaborate any more on that.
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead, Kendall.
Yeah, I'll go ahead. Yeah, an LOI is not required to participate in the Advanced Colorado Broadband programs. The LOI process was just a process to give CBO an understanding of the needs across the state and what grant applications may be coming our way. So again, it's not required. If you did not submit one, that's okay. But please do reach out to us so we're familiar with your project and can provide any assistance going along the way. Thank you.
Kendall, we have a summary of the LOIs on our website, or no? Do we not have that?
I believe that summary is still on there at the bottom, down by resources on our page. There should be a link with a summary of all the LOIs.
Okay, we can send that out post call as well, in case anybody wants to take a glance at the projects that we were told about in that process. So, okay. You're welcome, Jordan. Any other questions? And CBO Team 2, I turn it to you if there's anything that you want to open up, topics that you want to hear about from the industry folks on the call that you faced in your work, or that I just want to open a conversation about. So industry folks on the call, please feel free to ask questions, but I open it to our team as well to throw things out.
Well, while we're waiting on questions, I'll just put one update out there, just so you guys know that we're following up. This is the Colorado Broadband Roadmap. We asked stakeholders for feedback last fall. That opportunity concluded in November, and so over the next 2 months, we have a summary of all the feedback, and we'll be updating our plan based on that. And also we're still working with the tribes to get their plans wrapped up. So hopefully we'll be able to have an updated draft anyway by the end of March or in April, so that we can close that feedback loop on that. So when we're ready to kind of notify everybody, we'll definitely provide an update on where we are with that, and at our next stakeholder call, and we'll just replace the old version with the new version on our website, so that's updated. So if any of you guys were wondering where we were with that process, we that's where we are. And I just want to say thank you to all of those folks that did provide feedback. We read your feedback, we heard you. The good news is a lot of the feedback from industry and community. The encouraging thing was that we all want the same things, and for the most part, we all are in agreement for how we get there. It's just really implementing those ideas and strategies. So, and a lot of the feedback that was given as well as some of it already exists in the plan, so I was encouraged by that. There was a few really great ideas, so we'll update the plan this over the next couple months. So just wanted to provide you guys with an update, and thank you so much for all of the feedback. It was really helpful. Thanks for taking the time.
Thanks, Brandy. All right, any other questions?
Hi, this is Scott Harry with Crown Castle.
Hi, Scott, go ahead.
Okay, I just wanted to let everybody know that the Colorado Wireless Association is having an education event on February 2nd, and Brandy has graciously offered to be one of our host speakers. So anybody on the call that wants to join that education event, it's going to be a really good one. You can kind of, if you're not familiar with how wireless and broadband and fiber sort of interact, a lot of great speakers coming, and so I just wanted to let everybody on the call know.
That's great. Thank you so much. And maybe you can drop in the chat a website with more information, or if anybody does want to reach out, or maybe your contact information, Scott, whatever you're comfortable with. I think that would be great.
Yeah, it's just if you just Google search Colorado Wireless Association,
okay.
It'll come up there. I'm on the phone here, so I can't
Sure.
can't do the chat thing. So
that is okay. We can always include that too in our follow-up notes. So
yeah.
Thanks.
Great. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, what else is on your minds?
I'm just curious, and this is just a question, and again, it's regarding mapping, and I know that there's no way of knowing how many people in Colorado challenged the map. We did a huge PR campaign around that, and so we got the word out, but I was just curious if any of the providers in the room participated in that process, or encouraged people to participate, or did you have any opinions or thoughts on the FCC map? Any opinions or things that you could glean from that whole process? Just curious to see if anybody has any feedback on that, on the FCC challenge process.
I would also add on to that question, Brandy, if anyone has received availability challenges, are there any barriers for responding to those, and any other barriers you're experiencing with the whole process? We've been talking a lot with the FCC, so if there are any issues you're having, we'd be happy to have some of those conversations with the FCC and express the what Colorado providers are experiencing.
Hey, Lauren, I had one thing as well when there's an opportunity.
I think you can go ahead, Kendall.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that organizations and entities make sure that they're registered in sam.gov. That's a requirement to receive these grants. So you'll register in there and get what's called a UEI number, a unique entity identifier number. And that can take up to 3 months based on the website. So please make sure that you're registered again in sam.gov in preparation for these grants.
Thank you. Would you mind dropping that into the chat, Kendall? Just that website so everyone has it. Okay, we have a quiet group this morning. Everyone might have FCC map challenge hangovers. All right, thanks, Kendall. Okay. We can certainly end if you guys don't have any other discussion topics or questions that anybody has. Again, this is your time. Have access to the team, so we'll give it a few more minutes to see if we have any other questions.
Just get it over with. Yeah. Oh, hold on.
Okay. Well, I don't think we have any other questions, team. So we will follow up with notes, in particular our updates that we provided, and then a couple other things the team shared after. And again, I want to remind you, like we talked in the beginning, there is the program team's contacts. If you think of anything else afterwards, if you need to reach out directly to the broadband office, these are the best people to reach out to. Of course, you can reach out to any of us, but this is your dedicated team right here. And then the next roundtable will be in March, and we know a lot is going to happen between now and then in regards to this, not only this grant program, but I think the maps and everything else going on in the world of broadband. So, so we will have some big updates, I believe, on that call. But in the meantime, there's our email address as well. And then Megan mentioned it, I think a couple of people mentioned it, but the newsletter is also a fantastic way to stay updated with information from the broadband office. So we will include how to sign up for that in case you're not on our follow-up information. But we want to let you know we're always here in case you have anything or have questions or need us. So if there are not any other questions, we can adjourn early and give you back a little time in your day. Okay, so thanks everybody.
Thanks.